really play a ton of a factor. The only time it played a factor was the deep ball a little bit. It's hard to control it because when you put air on it, then it's all about like the velocity and how many times it spins to cut through the air. And if it's not like spinning perfectly, it can get carried. And the only time that really affected it though was the one to Keandre. I left a little bit too wide. That one was the only time I felt like the wind got it a little bit because I thought I threw a pretty solid ball and then it was too far. But other than that, no, the wind was fine.
Sean, how do you think the offensive line did under the situation they faced?
Yeah, super proud of those guys. Super proud of starting with Juice. It runs through Juice. These are captain. He's somebody who's I look up to as a leader, somebody who's always had my back. So it starts with Juice. He set the tone all week from the jump, and then I thought that across the board, Drew Shelton stepping up big time as a true freshman at left tackle. Hunter, Sal playing through some stuff as well. Caden having that as backs, JB Nelson, and then Bryce. I thought that everybody really contributed at a high level. Made a ton of plays and just had my back the whole game. So I was really happy with those guys.
Did it feel weird not having Olu there on the left side for you?
No, it's the only part that's weird is just the leadership that he brings. Not having him here was, that was just the only difference because guys, Olu's one of the best players I've ever seen. So realistically, it was a bummer not to have him here. But at the same time, I thought that those guys stepped up big.
How good does it feel to have a really decisive win, both sides of the ball? People wondered how this group would bounce back after last week. How good does the way you guys played today feel?
Yeah, I thought that our week of prep was intense. I thought that realistically, we were pretty pissed about last week, and this was our way of getting back at last week.
Did you think this would happen then today, or did you feel like this was a good possibility to go this way?
Yes.
Were you pissed at yourselves, or what was bugging you that much out of that game, I guess is what I'm asking.
Just because we played well, like if you go back and watch the tape, we played extremely well. So that was why we were bummed. But I'm, just focused on this week. Glad that we got the win and the way that we did too.
After 7-7, you go on a big run, put the game away. What was the vibe like on the sideline early on when it was 7-7 and then you go on that big run?
Just keep plugging. I mean, it was like first quarter, so just full long game, a lot of ball in a game. So,
how do you see, or how has K-Tron sort of evolved over the year, and how much it's sort of self-evident how much easier your job gets when a running game gets going?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you can bring balance to an offense, it's fantastic. And both, K-Tron and Nick, I thought had good days. Especially K-Tron, obviously. When you find the zone 3 times, it's impressive. I thought that, the way that he's developed is awesome. I remember K-Tron when he first got here, and to say that he's anything close to the player that he is now compared to there would be an understatement. I mean, the way he works, the way he, excels. He comes from, a tough spot, and I feel like, jumping in the winter, he's the most improved player I think I've seen in probably my career from such a short time. So, kudos to Fat Man there.
How reassuring is it having him in the passing game too as that check down option? And at any time you can just break off.
Yeah, I thought that that was one that we actually had the shot down the field. I just got it was such a tight window. It was a tight corridors, so I couldn't really get it out, but when you can flick it out and get 60 or 50, whatever he went for, it makes your job pretty easy.
Sean, how does the depth of this team feel different from past teams you've been a part of?
Probably just because you see it today, in maybe a week that we might have struggled a little bit, up front, for example. I thought that, they held their own and they dominated up front. And then, I think that with all the moving parts, I thought that our team is getting a lot of depth. I think that you see it across all positions. O-line, running back, wide receiver, quarterback. everywhere. I think that we're just growing as a team. I think it's kudos to Coach Franklin and the people that he brings in, breeding competition and really working at it. So
Being upset as you were after last week, is that something that can carry with you guys, not just today, but throughout the rest of the month, knowing that, if we play that way, this is what can happen, what happened today?
yeah, for sure. We're hungry. We're finishing off this last 3-game stretch now after this one. So we're definitely excited to keep going and keep stacking.
Go ahead.
You touched on how K-Tron's a different player than how he was at the start of the year. What would you say is the biggest difference between where he was and how he is now?
I think his approach and, he's such a quiet guy that at first I really didn't know how to feel about him. And him and I actually got into it like the first day that he got it here because it was in winter workouts. And I think he put his hands on his knees or something, and that's not allowed. But he didn't know, so I told him to stand up, and he went at me and Tig, got in our face. So I knew what type of dude he was from the jump. I knew he wasn't going to take anything, and I knew that he was. From that day, he's just progressively gotten better and better. And I always say that Fat and I, first day we met, we were about to fight, and now we're he's making plays on the biggest stages. So I think that he's somebody that I'm super impressed with. I really can't, put into words how impressed I am with.
So
how
what
he
does
is.
that say then about a kid who's going to come in with that kind of? That could go one of two ways. That could be a guy that's a problem, or it could be a guy that knows what he's doing.
I didn't see it as a problem.
Yeah.
I saw it as a dude who he's got something to him. He's not gonna, it doesn't matter who it is. You have the starting quarterback for the past 3 years. And Jair Brown, who captain of the team, and he didn't know, but off rip, I saw the fire that he had. I saw the type of dude that he's gonna snap if he feels like it. And I think that that attitude, that fire, I saw that day, and I'm glad that he's honed it into what he's doing right now.
Sean,
Two more for Sean.
what did you think of the job that Drew did when he got out there, Drew Aller, and what do you think about how he's handled this whole season? Because being the Penn State quarterback, even back when you first got here, there was always discussions who should be the starter. How has he handled the game and then that end of it?
Yeah, I thought that Drew made a lot of good plays today. He just keeps continuing to grow. I think that the whole quarterback room, day by day, we just keep pushing each other. It's been a lot of fun to. It's not a door. There you go, Ryan. But no, I thought Drew and his attitude toward everything is fantastic. We're just such a tight knit quarterback room that just makes it so easy to come into work, and that's been the best part of all of this is no matter who's in, it's just fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to grow together. It's fun to talk on the sideline. No one's ever pointing fingers. It's always about getting better and sticking together. Because with a lot of negativity, it's tough sometimes. So it's good to have a room like that.
Sean, last one.
Sean, there's been outside noise all year, but especially this week. You're human. How do you block that out and continuously just look forward and just focus on what's important to you and not listen to what's coming from the outside?
It's a good question. I think that the number one thing for me is if you take all that away and you look at what I'm doing right now, I'm living out my dream of playing college football at the highest level for a team that I've been a captain for 4 years, for a community that has had my back and realistically has been very good to me. So I can't get mad at people being critical, and I won't get mad at people being critical. I'm just blessed to be in the position that I am. I'm living out a dream that I've had for years and years and years. So for me, I don't really pay attention to it because I'm just the happiest dude. It sucks to lose, that's for sure. And don't get me wrong, I would love to win every game, obviously, very competitive. But at the same time, I wake up every day, win or lose, a very happy person just because not many people get to experience this. So taking every day as a blessing for sure. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Sean.